Most triple-doubles, Westbrook's had 26 post-All-Star break. Jokic has had 6. And so, like, these numbers they're not, like, this is not in conjunction with, the game's got more possessions now, the way the game's played now, all this bull crap. That is versus his peers. Well, let's talk about teams that are awesome, and that is the Washington Wizards. They are now at 10. They lose a game last night to the Atlanta Hawks by 1, but Russell Westbrook has broken the record, Oscar Robertson's record for triple-doubles, which is, look, let me just say a little piece on this. Regarding triple-doubles and, whether people want to poke holes in the who cares about triple doubles? And it's just a number, whatever. It is a number that signifies how these stats and how ridiculous it is to be able to put up double digits in 3 different categories. And he has now averaged a triple double, I believe 4 out of the last 5 seasons. His team has an extreme winning percentage when he does that. And I am one that sits back and I sit there, and when I see that the guy averaged a triple double, I see all these triple doubles, and while others will say like, who cares? It's just a triple double. I have a different point of view on this because, Kevin, I have covered 20 years of basketball games in Memphis, in both the Pyramid, and then they moved to the FedEx Forum, and they relocated to Memphis in 2001, did the Grizzlies. You know how many I've seen? Total?
3?
23. 23 triple-doubles. In 20 years. In 20 years, I have witnessed 23 triple-doubles. The guy averages a damn triple-double. Like, that is... so there have been 23. There have been 12 by Grizzlies players and 11 by opponents, and there's never been a playoff triple-double. Thanks to my buddy Ross Wooden for sending that along to me. And all 23 have been actually at FedEx Forum. But in 20 seasons, I've only witnessed 23. And this guy has averaged it 4 out of the last 5 years. And I talk about this a lot. You know my feelings on Westbrook. Obviously, this is part of why we're the mismatch. But I am forever impressed by people's ability or non-ability rather, to be able to praise Russell Westbrook without couching it with something negative. Like, he is unlike almost any other player that I can remember, where it's praise, this is unbelievable, this was whatever, but, or there's some thing that has to be said. Yeah, however, there is a need to not just say something positive and it be the end of statement, and rather say something positive, but then remind everybody that I don't like the guy, or I'm not a fan of his, or he's inefficient, or he's not the kind of guy I'd want on my championship team, or it's unbelievable. There's no other player like that. Truly. There's no player I can ever remember where people feel the need to crap on him after praising him. Like, it's impossible to say something nice and not. In fact, if you tried to do it right now, you would burst into flames.
Maybe I will.
It would drive you. No.
Maybe I will.
Way. No way.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Chris. Russell Westbrook. If you turn off the analysis,
you almost said despite. You almost said it. You almost said despite. I saw your lips. Because you have started every Russell Westbrook sentence for the last 20 years of your life with despite.
Russell Westbrook is just pure fun. and I think the conversation J. Kyle Mann and I had on Ringer NBA University with friend of the Ringer, Tyler Parker, big OKC fan who loves Westbrook, kind of just sums it up in the sense that sometimes like it's not about just the analysis. Sometimes it's not just about the like looking at effective field goal percentage and shot selection. This guy is just pure fun, pure joy. And that's why I say it as a compliment. I call him the NBA's Brett Favre. Brett Favre has authored some of the most exciting comebacks in NFL history, some of the most mind-blowing moments, has played through injuries, has been the reason why so many Packers fans and Vikings fans, not Jets fans, have had great memories over the years. And I say Vikings for 1 year. I know it's a sore subject for Packers fans, but with Westbrook, like for years with OKC was part of those moments. For years he was, and now he is with Washington. He had some good moments with Houston as well. Be that as it may. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But you know, the production. However.
Yep. Mine comes from well, two things. I covered the Final Four when Derrick Rose in Memphis, of all things, went and they bombed out UCLA in the Final Four, the Kevin Love, Collison, Westbrook team, that team. And those Memphis players at that time in college, to a man, I'll never forget this, said there was one dude on that team. When GMs in the NBA called them, and because of course they called and said, you know, what do you think? Right? Because they just destroyed them in the NCAA tournament, the Final Four. And when they were asked for their opinion at like the combine and interviews, whatever, to a man, every single one of them, because that was a rough Memphis team. And they said, take Westbrook. He's the one. He's the only one we couldn't intimidate. Every one of those other guys, they didn't want this. They didn't want that smoke. That guy, he was at our neck. Like he was there for it. And so I started with that. Then you move to Summer League. And at Summer League, there's an old story about the Miami Heat. They drafted Michael Beasley, number 2 overall. And they get to Summer League and they go to the gym. They got a workout at 8:00 at Summer League. And Beasley's not there. And they're like, where is he? Right. And so they have to go send a coach. They have to go knock on the door and they have to try to drag him out and whatever. And they go to the gym. They unlock the gym and Westbrook is there pouring with sweat and he's been there for 2 hours. And the Heat all looked at each other and go, we effed up. Like we screwed this up. Right. Yep. Like the guy that got drafted 4th is pouring and he's been here for 2 hours and we just had to go drag this guy out, worried that we might not find him. And then I covered those playoff series, you know, with Oklahoma City back in the day when they were awesome. I'm talking about the Harden team and then the team with just Westbrook and Durant. And as an opposing fan, I feared him. I did. That guy there was not a time where I thought that if there's one thing I could count on, that guy is he'd rather die on the court than lose. He cares so desperately. Sometimes it leads to bad stuff. I'm aware. Mm-hmm. It leads to ill-advised shots.
And that's whatever. The Brett Favre comparison
that will and that drive and that it doesn't matter if a camera is even at the game, I'm trying to rip your head off. I respect that so much.
Yeah. And that's why, I mean, like, I can't speak for anybody else when it comes to the criticism of him, but when I can only speak to myself, I've criticized him on this pod. I've written multiple columns criticizing him over the years at theringer.com. When I criticize Russell Westbrook, I look at it like, here's this great player who has all these qualities that you're talking about, Chris, like the work ethic. There's so much that's admirable about him as a person, you know, with what he puts into his game and his craft, right? The criticism is like, with just some little tweaks, you can be even more. You can be even more than you already are. Like, as special as you are, there's always ways to improve. And that's all it comes from. And maybe he's worked on his jumper and it has only resulted in it being hurt with the dropping free throw percentage. Maybe in his eyes, he can't shut off the shot selection aspect because that just changes the way he thinks and approaches the game from his aggressive point of view. I can't get inside his brain. But there are some downsides to his style that, like, ultimately, it doesn't matter. He still is a Hall of Famer. He still is one of the best point guards of this era. It's just some little things in his game that you wish could be a little bit better to raise his level to an even greater one.
Just for everybody to understand what has taken place with him post All-Star break. Post All-Star break in the NBA, assists, Russell Westbrook, 456. Second place, Chris Paul, 295. He has over 160 more assists than the second player since the All-Star break. Most post-All-Star break rebounds. Russell Westbrook, 455. Second, Jonas Valanciunas, 411. He has more rebounds than every player in the NBA by 40. Most triple-doubles, Westbrook's had 26 post-All-Star break. Jokic has had 6. And so, like, these numbers they're not, like, this is not in conjunction with, oh, the game's got more possessions now, the way the game's played now, all this bull crap. That is versus his peers. He has 160 more assists than anyone, 40 more rebounds than anyone, and 20 more triple doubles than anyone. They're all playing in the same environment. And that's what he is doing. And I do think he is unlike any other player in that in 20 years, people will look at him in a much different way than they look at him currently. That's what I'd say. He will be looked at. People will look at some of the numbers and think that that's still insane.
You know, it is going to be really fascinating to see how Westbrook is perceived because right now, you know, you have some people, not many, but some who look at Allen Iverson and say, oh, he was inefficient. Therefore, he was overrated. In 20 years, will there be more people who look at Westbrook like that? Or will people look at the raw numbers, the total, you know, rebounds, assists, points, the sheer level of production, and look at it that the opposite way and say, how are people saying this about this guy? We haven't had anybody like that since. It's possible.